So to me, it's about, I'll just give you an example of what I see and why I want to do what I want to do. I just posted on Facebook and in my page and in all the groups a scenario on a label.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've got 2 answers. That's scary.
Well, now you did one before too.
I just finished posting one this week about here's what the label says.
Yeah.
The label says you can fog this, and you got to turn off the air conditioning system.
Okay.
When you read the SDS says you can use it outside or in well-ventilated areas.
Okay.
So who's right? Because it says nothing about PPE, and then it says if you're going to use it, the SDS says if you're going to use it in a non-ventilated area, you got to wear a NIOSH respirator. The label says nothing about it on the PPE.
I look at labels and SDS as like proverbs. You know, it's here's what you have to do. Here's a suggestion, but use your daggum head.
Well, actually, you can't. Not according to the SDS, because if you have an employee, it says on the first aid, if the person faints, you need to take them out to fresh air.
Well, then it wasn't ventilated.
Huh?
Then it wasn't ventilated. They didn't have their PPE on.
But there's no PPE requirement on the label. Only for handlers. On the label, only handlers must wear gloves and long sleeve shirts, not applicators. It says handlers, mixers.
Is this a newer product?
It's a product that's on the market. It's been around a long time. I use it extensively.
That sounds like a EPA brain fart.
Well, it says nothing about respirator. I searched that entire label. It says you must shut off, if you're going to fog indoor with it, you got to shut off the air conditioning system.
Yeah.
The SDS says you can only use it outside or in well-ventilated areas. If you're going to use it in non-ventilated areas, you got to wear a NIOSH respirator.
Okay.
I said, and most of the guys that I talked to says, well, the SDS is only for if you have a spill and for first responders.
No, but you're right. That information should be on label, not just on SDS.
Right. So my question was, what do you do? The answer was from 2 people. You asked your ag department. No, you don't.
No.
You're supposed to interpret it. Here's what most, and I'm going to do an entire teaching on this because I realize the industry doesn't know why, because 95% of the guys that are listening to me are solo operators. They don't have employees. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they don't have to abide by OSHA because they don't have a technician. So they feel they don't have to read the SDS because that's only if I have a spill. No, that's under OSHA.
Yeah.
And if you have an employee, that's about employee safety, and that's HCS, and you have to comply with that. They had no answer. But if I would have asked about bifenthrin, I would have got 150 replies. That is scary. A lot of what I do is we need better. We have done a very, very bad job of training the industry. Why? Because every time you go to a CEU training, anybody always talks about the label and how to apply it and what it kills and how you're going to control it and how you're going to do a crack and crevice, and the manufacturer's only telling you about their product.
Preach it, brother.
And you've never sat through an SDS training until you've had to because you're an employee. Because I asked
video
people,
on that.
You think you need SDS training? And people are like, no, I don't need SDS because that's only, and I don't have employees. I don't have to abide by that. Well, who's going to drag you out of that unit when you, because it says it causes on the SDS, it says it causes drowsiness.
It's flammable whether you read the thing or not.
Yeah. And it causes drowsiness. And you can't use it. So I got to shut off the ventilation. And here it tells me I got to wear a respirator, but I've never read the SDS. I've only read the label. I don't have to do a darn thing according to the label, except pass out and die.
Labels are boring, but SDSs are extra boring. I mean,
No, they can give you a freaking heart attack if you're the wrong guy. I mean, think about it. You got to put a
yeah,
technician when you hire him, mandatory through SDS training, because he has to take the HCS hazardous safety training. It's mandated now. You have to take it.
really.
And you don't put a guy through it and he doesn't read his SDS and he doesn't understand it. And now you hired him and you didn't buy workman's compensation insurance.
See, that's another reason why I'm such a nicest fanboy. Anytime you cannot download just an SDS or a label, they're the
You
same
got to do
file.
both.
It's the same file.
Yep, you got to do both. You get both. But when you leave the manufacturer, most of the time you don't leave there with an SDS when you go buy it. They have to give you an SDS if you're going to transport it. Because now DOT is involved and OSHA's involved. And you got to leave that warehouse with an SDS. The label is on the package. But here's what everybody will argue me about. And I'm going to prove everybody wrong because I like doing that. But it says on every label, this particular label doesn't say it. It says it is a violation of federal law to use this product inconsistent with what?
It's labeling.
It's labeling. It does not say label. The federal law says labeling.
Which includes the label, the SDS, the whatever's printed on the package.
Right. So if you say I only have to follow the label, you're absolutely wrong because the SDS and FIFRA put out a statement saying the SDS, MSDS is part of the labeling.
It never occurred to me that somebody would think they were separate.
You know how many people think they're separate? I put out several posts on this and say, no, I don't have to. I only have to follow the label on application. But part of that respirator was on the SDS. It wasn't on the label. And here's the funny part. That statement, because the product is FIFRA exempt, did not say it is a federal violation of federal law to use it inconsistent with his labeling. But if you have an employee and he would have gone in there and he would have applied it, he would have been violating OSHA law.
Yeah.
Because he didn't wear his respirator in an enclosed environment where the system was off. Because
to be fair, all the use and usage instructions and all that stuff should live on the label, not on the SDS.
It should. And there's part number 12 through 15 that covers FIFRA, yet it wasn't on there.
Is this 25B?
It's a 25B product.
Well, that's why the EPA just went, whatever.
Well, they didn't have to, right? But here's the problem. If you're an applicator and you're a solo operator, you're not under OSHA. If you want to pass out, that's on you. You can't take that risk when you have an employee.
Yeah.
Because now you said, well, I'm exempt from getting workman's comp. Well, you might be exempt. However, you still have a liability. If that employee gets injured, you're buying the bill.
If it were only so simple.
If it was only so simple. And then the problem is we have this simplistic view from a lot of people. Like I said, I put that out in all the groups. I got 2 responses. That's scary.
See, I've not seen it. Maybe your SEO stinks.
Yeah, my SEO. I'm going to show it to you. Hold on a second. Look, hold on. I'm going to get it for you right now. Hold on a second.
I can probably find it if I look you up directly.
Look up me. I think I haven't posted anything since that. I think
it's under Pest Geeks or you?
No, it's under both. I put it under both. Hold on a second. I'm going to go off camera here. Let me see if I find it. Hold on. I'm going to search it real quick.
You are posting full on this thing, man. I'm telling you.
I posted it. Where is it? Oh, no, not there. Okay, here we go. Let me share this with everybody on the screen. So everybody, this is the question. Share screen. Share. All right, I'm going to move you over here to the side. Question regarding product application. Here's what it says. This product is exempt from registration with FIFRA, Federal Environmental Protection Agency, under FIFRA Section 25B. It does not have a statement on the label, it is a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with the labeling. Now, here's what the EPA says. The EPA says this PR notice update clarifies EPA's determination in PR notice 9241 that material safety data sheets, MSDS, also referred to as SDS, that accompanies a pesticide product is considered part of the pesticide labeling, but may accompany a pesticide product without notification to the approval of the agency. Such labeling is consistent with the 40 CFR Part 156 labeling requirements. It is part of the labeling. Is the label the law for this product? How will you have your technician apply this product to comply with the label? Does the tech follow the SDS or the label on the PPE? Did the tech read the SDS before applying? Here's what it says for fogging. The label says closed, shut off air conditioning, ventilation equipment. The SDS says use only outdoors or in well-ventilated areas. So which one do you follow? Because you got if you're a tech, I didn't say an owner, I said a tech. Because SDS falls under OSHA. The PPE on the label says protective personal equipment handling concentrates are required. So if I handle the concentrate and I mix it, I can give it to a technician to apply. He doesn't have to wear PPE. Chemical resistant gloves, protective eyewear if I'm handling the concentrate. The SDS says hand protection, wear chemically resistant gloves, eye protection, chemical goggles, or face shield, body protection. It is recommended for handlers to wear appropriate clothing to prevent skin contact involving long sleeve shirt, socks. Respiratory protection in case of insufficient ventilation, use NIOSH approved respirator. If you have an enclosed house with the air conditioning off, where the windows are closed, that's not well ventilated. And I got three likes and 5 comments. And this is the list of exempt minimum ingredients. The label is just a suggestion.
Yeah, I just
the
read
label.
that.
The label is a suggestion, but it's not not on the SDS when you have an employee and he passes out and you have to rush him to the hospital.
See, here's the problem one problem with 25B is, so it's grass. They say it's grass.
Right.
Well, that doesn't mean it's safe. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do XYZ with it. So I'm okay with having 25B existing, but I still think it needs a label.
I use a tar load of 25B. This is why I'm familiar with this label. I would never apply this product. I always said in all my programs, you've heard it, never apply a 25B product indoors because of allergens. You can trigger. Here's another one. Okay, the label is the law. The label is the law. The SDS does not supersede the label on the product. Only the label is approved by the EPA. The SES technical data provided by the manufacturer. You need to read the law again because you got it wrong. So now you have an employee and you get it wrong because you got it wrong. But yet that was a factual statement. That's not an opinion.
Well, the fact that it's 25B, the label isn't approved by the EPA, right?
Well, the label is not the law. The labeling is the law. Here's why. Let me show you. Let me show you.
You're getting into semantics now, brother.
No, the labeling is not semantic. This is a legal document.
No, I agree. I'm just poking you.
Yeah. So when you tell me 5 answers out of 3,000, 4,000 people I have following me, if I would have asked a question, but I asked here how I decide what I'm going to teach and what I'm going to talk about. If I would talk about everything that's popular, I would have a huge audience.
Yeah.
But because I talk about the things that are important, most people don't want to listen to it.
You know what this issue right here, this specific issue, comes down to government stupidity. Um, at the end of the day, you know, we've got different groups of entities that have different defined responsibilities, and they don't always talk well with each other.
Yeah, but here's the problem, dude. This is where my beef has been for the last 15 years, where I've been on taking so many courses. And how is it that you're in this 15 years, 20 years, and you still don't understand it? You're still confused about it because after 15 years, you're still a solo operator. But here's what it says. This is from the EPA, right? There it is right there. In other words, the label is the law. We quote that, right?
Oh yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Okay, now look at the bottom of the website. What's the
25B
difference?
or not?
What's the difference? In these web pages, we have used the term label for simplicity.
No.
Please read and include other materials that are considered labeling.
Yeah. Let me ask, how many pest control technicians do you think have been on this website besides you and me?
Nobody, because everybody thinks that this is baloney. And, you know, as long as I follow the label, because the label is the law, the label is the law. No, it's used for simplicity. The actual law reads with its labeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Even consumer products say that.
Right. But it's the labeling that we're responsible for, not just the label.
You know, I'll tell you what, when my technician got certified, there was a question on his exam for certification that was a question: what is included in labeling?
Yeah.
And it was the what's written on the bottle, the label, the SDS, grandma's bean recipe,
Right.
And that's maybe they've kind of recognized there's an issue there.
Well, the state always recognizes there's an issue. The problem is, where has all the technical training come from for the last 50 years? I mean, how many actual university training have you gone to by a university or by the state that wasn't done by a supplier, a manufacturer, or distributor, and all we talked about was the application of the product?
Probably
And then
about
when we want to
20%.
we want to skim over it because it's boring. It doesn't really fit the narrative.
Yeah.
And so this is why you see me having the outlook I have. Is said we need to educate the whole world on what real pest control is, not just spraying and praying, because this is what everybody thinks it is. How are you going to attract the best people in the world when everybody thinks you walk around with a B&G to make $15 an hour?
Because that's what most people want to do is give me my bottle of concentrate, give me my B&G,
Right.
let me go get Miss Jones, and so I can go home.
Right. And that is, and the customer thinks that too.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why you see me
problem.
that's why you see me so fanatical about environmental and about, eco green and what green is and what IPM is and what all this is, because I mean, I'll put a debate on what IPM is, and 50% of people say that's not IPM, and 50% says you can't do IPM at all.
Oh boy.
And you can't do this, and so how can 50% be right and 50% be wrong? Like when I put similar questions out about rodenticides, how can 50% get the label wrong and tell me they're right when I'm showing them a label that says what you're telling me is wrong, but the label is the law, right? How can 50% get it wrong and 50% get it right? Somebody's violating the law.